Welcome to the Nameless.
I only noticed it later when I was cleaning out my phone. A 30-second audio clip I didn't remember recording. The file name was just a string of numbers. When I pressed play, I heard the low hum of our house at night. Then a voice from my sister's room said my name, clearly, slowly, like it had practiced. And the worst part wasn't that it sounded wrong. It was that it sounded like it knew me. At the time, recording audio in the hallway felt normal. That sentence still feels strange to write, but nothing about those weeks was normal. My sister, Emily, had moved back home after dropping out of college mid-semester. No big dramatic reason, at least not one she shared. She just said she couldn't sleep there anymore, said the room felt crowded. She took her old bedroom, same posters, same twin bed, same little desk under the window. Our parents worked night shifts at the hospital, so most nights it was just the two of us in the house.
I work freelance, weird hours, so I was usually awake late. She used to be a night owl too, but after she came back, she went to bed early and slept with her door closed. That was new. The first few nights, I chalked everything up to stress. She'd wake up crying, sometimes laughing, sometimes talking. When I asked her about it in the morning, she looked embarrassed and said she didn't remember. Night terrors, she said. It runs in the family. I believed her because believing her meant there was a logical explanation, and because during the day, she was still my sister. Quiet, yeah, jumpier than usual, but still Emily. The only thing that really bothered me at first was her voice at night. It didn't sound like sleep talking. It was too clear, too steady. Sometimes I'd hear her having full conversations through the wall, but when I listened closely, there was never a second voice, just her pausing, like she was listening to something I couldn't hear. When I teased her about it, she snapped at me in a way that didn't fit, told me to stop listening at her door, told me I wouldn't understand. I stopped teasing after that. The house itself started feeling different. Not haunted, not cold spots or shadows, just tense, like the air was stretched tight. I started sleeping with my door locked without really deciding to. I caught myself holding my breath in the hallway at night. One night around 2 a.m., I heard her door open. Slow hinges, bare feet on carpet. I peeked out and saw her standing in the dark hallway, facing my room. She wasn't moving, just standing there. I whispered her name. She didn't answer. Then she turned and went back into her room, closing the door gently, like she didn't want to wake anyone. The next morning, she didn't remember it. That was the night I downloaded a recording app, not because I thought something supernatural was happening. I just wanted proof, for myself, something concrete.
I left my phone on the little table in the hallway before bed. Told myself it was just to capture sleep talking so I could show her and laugh about it later. That was the first recording. Mostly silence, a few creaks. At 3:11 a.m., a whisper I couldn't make out. At 3:14, her door opening, footsteps, then nothing. The second night, I moved the phone closer to her door. That recording had breathing, not heavy, controlled, too close to the mic. Then her voice, clear as if she were standing right there, saying, "He's listening." I didn't sleep after that. Things escalated fast once I started paying attention. She stopped eating much. She kept her curtains closed even during the day. Sometimes I'd catch her staring at the wall like she was waiting for it to blink. I asked her if she wanted to see someone, a doctor, a therapist. She laughed, but it wasn't a happy sound. She told me they wouldn't help, said it didn't like doctors. I asked her what it was. She stared at me for a long time, then smiled and said, "You already hear it, don't you?" That night,
I didn't put the phone in the hallway. I put it in my room and locked the door. I thought if something happened, at least I'd have evidence of my own fear. That sounds stupid now, but at the time it made sense. I woke up to the sound of her knocking. Not pounding, just 3 soft knocks, over and over. "Can I come in?" she asked. Her voice was wrong, not deep or distorted, just empty, like someone reading lines without knowing what they meant. I didn't answer. After a minute, the knocking stopped. I listened for footsteps, heard none. The recording from that night picked up the knocks, then silence, then right next to my door, a whisper saying my name again, slower this time, like it was tasting it. I confronted her in the morning, played the audio, watched her face while she listened. She didn't look surprised. She looked annoyed. "You weren't supposed to record that," she said. Not angry, just matter of fact. That was when I noticed her reflection in the dark screen of my phone. For a split second, her smile didn't match her eyes. Her mouth was too wide, just for a moment. I told my parents that she needed help. They were tired, overworked, and scared of the word psych. They said she was adjusting, said I was feeding into it by fixating. That night, the power went out. No storm, no warning, just darkness and the quiet click of everything dying at once. I was in the living room. Emily was in her room. I called her name. No answer. Then I heard her talking again, not through the wall this time, from the hallway. I stayed on the couch, heart pounding, listening to her voice drift closer. She wasn't talking to me. She was talking to something else, thanking it, apologizing, promising. When she reached the living room doorway, she stopped. I could feel her there, could smell her shampoo. "It says you don't believe yet," she said. I finally looked. She was standing crooked, like she'd forgotten how to balance, her head tilted too far, her eyes focused somewhere over my shoulder. I asked her to turn on the lights, knowing they wouldn't work. She laughed. Then her voice changed, not into a monster growl, into something flatter, older. "You shouldn't record what you don't understand," it said through her mouth. I ran. I locked myself in the bathroom and sat in the tub with my phone clutched to my chest. I could hear her outside the door, pacing, sometimes whispering, sometimes silent for long stretches that were worse. I recorded everything, shaking hands, whispered prayers I didn't believe in. At one point, the pacing stopped. I thought she'd gone back to her room. Then her voice came from right outside the shower curtain, even though the door was still locked. It said my name again. I don't remember unlocking the window. I just remember cold air and the drop to the bushes below. I sprained my ankle landing, but kept running. I didn't look back. I stayed with a friend that night, then another. I sent the recordings to my parents, to anyone who would listen. By the time they went back to the house with a priest and a doctor and a locksmith, Emily was gone. Her room was empty, bed made, curtains open. They say she ran away. Sometimes when I can't sleep, I listen to the recordings. I don't know why. Maybe to remind myself it was real. There's one sound I didn't notice until recently. Underneath everything, a faint breathing that isn't hers, isn't mine. And at the very end of the last file, after I jump out the window, after the thud and the wind, there's a voice, not calling my name, laughing from inside my phone.